families, loved ones, they want to know that we care and that this police department is going to be there all the way through, and we're going to do everything we possibly can to solve their case.
Montgomery County 911, what's the address of the emergency?
Welcome to another episode of Voices of Service. Today we have two special guests with us. Captain Gagen, who is head of our Major Crimes Division, and Detective Katie Leggett, who is a distinguished detective in our Cold Case and Missing Persons Unit. Today we aim to bring you a more thorough understanding of our Major Crimes Division in hopes of, in the future, sharing with you first-hand accounts of thrilling cases, heart-pounding encounters, and complex investigations that have unfolded within our department. So without further ado, let's jump into our episode.
Sean, Katie, I've had the pleasure of knowing you all and watching you work for a long time on different assignments throughout your careers. And Sean and I go back to Captain Gagen, go back to the academy, which were fun days.
You guys were in the academy together?
We were.
We were in the academy together. Were we in the same running group?
I think you've always been faster and much more aggressive, as you are the assistant chief.
Right. Well, the boxing group didn't help me. There might be videos somewhere of a boxing match, and let's just say Drago here has a long reach. But anyway, you're the captain of Major Crimes.
Correct.
And I really like that we're going to start talking about Major Crimes on the podcast and sharing some stories, because it really is. Number one, the detectives there are special in what they do and what they deal with, and the cases some of the most important we have. So what's all in Major Crimes? Because this is a lot of more than people would actually know.
Sure. So thank you for the introduction. Very, very, very kind. So the Major Crimes Division is made up of our homicide section, our robbery section, which handles commercial robberies, carjackings. We also have our Cold Case Missing Persons Unit, which Detective Leggett is a part of. We added this past year our Auto Crime Enforcement section, which is a great addition to the division. We have the Fugitive section as well, and then we have our Witness Victim Assistance Unit.
Fantastic. Sorry to jump in.
Please.
So I know that you said that the ACES unit, or the Auto Crime, has been added. Why was that added under you guys?
So one of the reasons why we added it to Major Crimes Division was that we were seeing a lot of cases over the last several years when we started seeing an increase in auto thefts and auto theft related crimes. There was a correlation between cars that were being stolen and crimes, violent crimes that were being committed all throughout the not only Montgomery County but throughout the capital region. So those cars that were being stolen or that were carjacked were then being used to commit other robberies, carjackings, and such. So to kind of marry those two units up, you know, my robbery section and auto crime just seemed like it was the right thing to do.
An easy collaboration for
Correct.
them. Fantastic.
Do you have a favorite unit?
Do I have a favorite? Depends on which unit's making the arrest. And always Detective Leggett.
Of course, Detective
she's very distinguished, as we heard.
Right.
No.
And Katie, you're Cold Case and
Missing Persons.
And Missing Person. So I think a lot of people in Montgomery County are familiar with you, not because you're going out for any kind of accolades, but certainly you've had a part in some very important cases. The Lyon sisters is definitely one of them, and numerous others. Sheriff Hall, right? How did you get into Cold Case?
Well, I got into Cold Case because I was at Special Victims as a child abuse and sex assault detective, and when the Lyon sister case came up, the detectives that were already working on it quickly realized that they were dealing with a bunch of sexual offenders, and the task force was comprised of a bunch of talented detectives with a vast number of experiences in different areas, but they didn't have anyone that had any predatorial, behavioral knowledge or anything like that. So they asked for me to come over and initially to do a polygraph, because I was also a polygraph examiner. a polygraph with the suspect or the person of interest. And then my knowledge in the sex crimes arena kind of led me to staying on the task force, and the rest is kind of history. I loved it and stayed to see out that case for the next 4 years, basically, and then stayed after that.
Yeah, I don't think people quite understand, and we're trying to shine a light on it internally, but they don't quite grasp what looking at these crimes does with our detectives, what it does with just our officers responding, but especially detectives that investigate these and have to hear these terrible stories. And it's quite impressive that you just keep doing it year after year. You keep coming back. So we appreciate that.
Thank you. Yeah.
So do you mind if I jump in? So at what point do you receive a missing person case, in cold case?
So the way that it's written is that we're supposed to get it about 72 hours after our station level detectives receive it. So each station has an investigative division, as you guys know, and they're supposed to work it for about 72 hours, and then it comes to us.
So there's a reason for that.
There's a reason for it. I mean, mainly the reason, I guess, with the 72 hours is some of them can be resolved pretty easily with a couple phone calls in 72 hours. But we have the ability to kind of stay the course, where station level detectives are very busy with acute stuff, and because we're working cold cases, nothing typically acute, we have a little bit more time to kind of dig in, and the resources and the manpower and that kind of. We do have a big cold case missing persons unit when you compare it to other, especially in this area, but other agencies, period. Ours is pretty big. And so we do have a little bit of flexibility in terms of investing the amount of time that these cases take when they can't be easily solved.
Right. When the unit when that aspect was first formed, it was very interesting that most cases are resolved within 72 hours. We have very few that go out that exist longer than 72 hours, separate of runaways. Runaways is handled over in our Special Victims Investigation Division, so which Captain Gagen was commander there.
At one point in time, I was.
Yeah, you were the
of
director
Special
there.
Victims,
You've been
right?
commander at the 2nd District. Holy smokes, you're getting old.
I'm getting old.
Oh,
Seems
wait, that
seems
means
like
I'm old.
I can't hold the job. That's
Right.
that's kind of the running joke. Yeah.
Well, we needed your talent.
That's right.
Yes.
That's another way to look at it.
Yeah.
Right.
So, the violent crime, it's really good that you make the connection between these auto thefts and other things, because we are seeing it, and it's an important area to tackle, and the Hyundai Kia thing out of control, right?
Right. It's one of the biggest issues that is kind of driving, the large increase in our stolen vehicles. I mean, I was talking this morning, as I was presenting to the chiefs and the other executives, we were discussing the fact that Kia and Hyundai thefts here in Montgomery County make up 63% of all of our stolen vehicles year to date in the county. So it's a problem that we're very focused on. We're working to try to identify groups and individuals that are responsible for those types of thefts. We're trying to get that information out to the district commanders and to the patrol units. And then you talked a little bit more about our partnership and collaboration with the public, and wanting to make sure that they're as educated as possible. So there are some things that we're going to be doing in the future. We're going to be talking more internally about some different community engagement programs that we're going to put forward, kind of help educate and try to help owners of those types of vehicles, try to be more preventative, so that they don't become victims themselves.
Now, I know part of again, going back to the beginning, why I'm excited that Major Crimes, and I thank you all for wanting to be a part of this podcast. That's not what you said before we started.
We're rolling now.
Yeah, we're sorry, we're rolling. That's right. There really are fascinating stories, and one of the ones that I go back to that both of you had critical parts in was the Wallen case, which was a missing person case, and it was really a case where we showed how special this way we handled missing persons is. So I'm going to take you back in history. We're not going to go into a ton of depth because we might actually visit this because there's so many intricacies about it.
Right.
But the case originally came in from our 4th district, right?
Correct.
So
Right.
how did you all get involved?
So Sergeant Reese is I guess still the sergeant of the Wheaton investigative section, and he is really good about kind of sifting through the cases before they come to us. And he knew off the bat that this case was not good,
Right.
and he kind of gave us a heads up way before the 72 hours of them getting it, but just said, hey, listen. I mean, he had the wherewithal and the knowledge and investigative gut to know this is not good. And so he kind of gave us a call and said, hey, listen, if you want to jump in now, you can. If not, I'm just giving you a heads up. And of course, we're like, no, we want to jump in now because from the way we look at it, if this is going to involve a homicide or something that's going to be long-term, we want to be in as early as we can. Mm-hmm. As you know, there's like a very golden hour of working a homicide case where you hope to find somebody alive soon, and they were approaching that, or it probably had exceeded it by the time it was reported and they had gotten to that point. So we all went over from the cold case unit, went over to the Wheaton station and met with them, and then just worked it with them hand in hand throughout. They actually were very invested at that point and wanted to stay on with us and worked it through. And that case is an example of how every single part of this department worked exactly how it was supposed to for a successful closure, and successful meaning we found her and held the person accountable that did it. As successful as you can be when someone loses their life.
Right, and we talk about success and tragedy, right? It's a hard thing, but one of the things that I really was impressed with in I was there as the major crimes captain, but fortunately I was off, and Lieutenant Gagen ran with the show, which means it got closed because I wasn't there. But I watched the relationship you had with the family and the suspect. And then I also watched, I mean, I did come back in time to participate in the case a little bit and to watch Lieutenant Gagen handle some things. I remember the news conference out by the lake.
Right.
It was a tough situation, right?
Well, it was one of those. It was terribly tragic all the way around.
Right.
It was. Yeah, we felt very strong based upon what Katie had referenced, that Sergeant Reese and his team had worked this investigation from the onset, and really had a bad feeling about the circumstances, about their conversations that they were having with Tyler Tessier at the time. So we all there was a lot of dread that this was not going to have a happy ending. But the cold case team, really built a very strong relationship with the family. Kind of kept reassuring them, all right, that they were doing everything they possibly could, to try to find Laura. It was all hands on deck, but and at the end, again, it was a tragic circumstance that she was found deceased, but it was another one of those proud moments where you kind of look back and you think all the hard work that went into this to try to bring closure to the family. So it had a lot of twists and turns.
Yeah.
There were a lot of, as I know this is something that we might want to discuss further in more detail.
Yep.
But there were a lot of twists and turns that might be very interesting to those that are listening or watching, as we talk about doing some of these cases in the future.
Yeah, and I want to do a whole episode on this one. I guess we're teasing right now, right? But to me, impressive the rapport built with the boyfriend, Tyler. That we have a press event and he's standing next to us, and the professionalism of everyone, you two involved, as we're standing there having this press event and having very strong feelings about what actually occurred, about the fact that Tyler had killed Laura. Right. And to stand there and be professionals and really really it kind of, and again, we'll save it, right? Because there's a lot of discussions that went into what we did with that. And, you know, I guess the rewarding part, a lot of tragedies that we see around the country, one of the most important things is finding the loved one,
Right.
you know, at all. You know, unfortunately, we had the Hoggle case that we worked, and we've yet to find Sarah and Jacob. But in this particular case, because of y'all's work, and because of other units too, we had emergency services unit out,
Search team.
team out there. John Green,
John Green,
right?
Jason
We had him
Huggins.
out there. We were looking at
fugitive,
all
rope,
kinds of records, fugitives, rope. We were all
ECU.
out there.
Yeah, I mean, literally, probably everybody in this building that has any investigative, and then part of our special investigations. I mean, when you say all hands on deck, it really, in that aspect is what I mean. That's those moments where you say, "This is what I signed up for."
Yeah.
You know, because it was truly a team affair. There was no one person that did anything better than the other. It was everyone cared. You know, and that is something that was, when you say the professionalism that we showed, that wasn't hard when you saw what the parents were able to do, because that was the real deal.
Oh my gosh.
What they were able to do, and to be burying a child and have enough awareness about you to say thank you to the police is far beyond my ability to comprehend how you can be so selfless to say. And as you know, that was the same week and on the heels of the Lyon sisters case closing, with Lloyd Welch being accepting his plea in Bedford. And that's what the parents said to us is, we can never thank you enough for us knowing where she is and being able to give her proper burial and things, because they couldn't imagine going through that.
Right.
You know.
But just real quick, because I'll tie it back into major crimes as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and I don't want us, you know, sometimes we get lost and we kind of talk about, you know, this, you know, the amount of energy and time that was spent. Okay, you know, we're going to talk about some other cases in the future, but you know, what was the time and effort that the detectives at the department put into this particular investigation is really what people can come to expect from this department when it comes to any of our cases. Yeah, and especially those that are handled, you know, major crimes. It really is a very special place, where at a moment's notice, yeah, we have detectives from that you know might be handling. Say we were just talking about auto crime and robbery, that are willing to jump in to assist other detectives with their particular case because it matters.
Yeah.
You know, some of our cases are some of the most serious that we handle, and that police investigate all throughout the country. Yeah, so families, loved ones, they want to know that we care and that this police department is going to be there all the way through, and we're going to do everything we possibly can to solve their case.
And that's a terrific point. And what I hope is we can illustrate when we talk about these things going forward. I love that you bring up the fact that we thought we were going to catch our breath for a second, right? After the plea and all of that concluded there with Lloyd Welch, yet we couldn't. And you just jump back into it. And I had the fortune of being a major crimes detective a long while ago. And I don't think our public understands what we expect of these folks. I worked one case 76 hours straight, no sleep. Sniper investigation, which there's not as many around anymore. There's a few of us around. You know, I would get up at 5:30 in the morning, get to headquarters about 6:15, and then work until 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock as part of the investigative team. And then we had officers out on the road doing. It's just special work, and like both of you have pointed out, it's a big team effort.
The dedication and commitment that comes with, you know, being a part of that team up in major crimes is extraordinary.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, those are the type of people that we're looking for. That, you know, as people move on, retire, or get promoted out. We're looking to backfill, with people that are willing to be relentless. And I use that because Chief Frank, then Captain Frank, put that word on our, as part of our kind of mantra, our driving, kind of force behind what we're about. We want people that, care as much as we do.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It truly is. I have high expectations for my people that they're going to do everything they possibly can to bring closure. And all I have to do is just basically have that expectation, and these detectives are just they're all over it. I don't ever have to say, what are you doing about this case? I know that if they are assigned a particular case, they're going to be there, just as Chief Frank said, early in the morning, and they're going to leave late at night, and they're going to do everything they possibly can.
Phenomenal. Well, I was going to ask you, what are the special characteristics of your detectives, but you
Sure.
answered it before you even had
There
an
you go.
opportunity to ask.
See?
So
Mind reader.
Relentless.
Yeah.
Mind reader. That's part of what we're.
Shh, we're not supposed to talk about that unit. Mind reading unit. It's
Right.
not official. I think there's a show my kids watch,
Right.
Psych. We don't have
I
any
think
of
that was
them.
an X-Files episode, but again, many people might not remember that show. Right.
Very good.
No.
well, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. I could sit and listen to the three of you guys talk about it all day. The Major Crimes Division, it's incredible what you guys do. Thank you very
you.
much for being here with us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
We appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, stay tuned, stay connected, and we'll see you next time.